Hello everybody, and welcome to another Sims 4 build. Today we are doing the collector shop for my little town lot. So the little town, if you haven't seen any of the other videos, is a community lot that is basically like an old street block. It's got a bunch of shops in it and things like that, and today is the collector shop of that. And I basically just went in with the debug items and I used all the sort of knickknacks that Sims can collect a little around the world, like what's it called? Like gems and fish and all that sort of fun stuff that your Sims can go out and collect in the world. And I just turned it into a very fancy sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess, yeah, collectors is probably the best word I can think to look for it, but I'm not sure. There's probably a better word that I'm not, remembering. But I decided to use a lot of move objects in this build with the counters and stuff. They are sort of slid into each other. So make sure you do have move objects on if you download this off the gallery. It's kind of important, not just for this shop, but every other shop on the lot. I don't know if things will disappear if you don't have it, but just in case, turn it on. I just kind of wanted to have like a nice rounded counter to it. And since we don't really have that in the game, I had to make it myself by sliding in, island counters together. And they're just basically base game island counters. Again, this is a fully functioning shop with a register, so you can run it as a business if you so choose to. So we've got all the little gems on the table. I basically just go in, chuck in everything that I can find. And then I sort of pick and choose things that look the best. So I look through all the fish. I get all the mounted fish on the walls. And then I go in and I choose either the most weird looking ones or the most pretty ones. The most rare, I should say. Because this is a rare collector shop. All the little skulls and I like, Fabergé eggs. I just sort of group everything, put it all down from debug, and then go in and choose things that I want to be in this build. Because space is an issue with this little tiny shops, as it is with most little of the shops, because I just use the 50 by 50 lot in Newcrest. And it sort of made me be a little bit more creative with each of the shops, even though I could have done more to sort of make them a little bit bigger, and I could have made them so much more, but I felt like having them small and pokey was probably better. So here I am going through, looking through all the fish, seeing what are the most rare or just ones that I found the most beautiful. Because they all are on the walls right now, and I realize there are so many fish. So let's just go through and pick out the nicest to sort of add to our walls and give it a little bit more of an organized feel. So I was like, I like these ones. These ones are really cute. These ones are really creepy looking. These ones look weird. And then I accentuated the whole build with, the China hutch and the fancy tables and things like that. I was a little bit sad to find out that metal thing that military Sims can put their, not really trophies, but their medals of honor in. You can't really put them in unless you have a Sim do it, so they are not in there. But like I said, if you wanted to run this as your own personal shop, you can always just go in there and slot them in yourself if you wanted to have them on display as well. So I try to keep those shelves organized too, and then I realized that you can't really put anything on the lower shelves, so I created my own shelves with just the regular. I think those are from Get Together. Yes, Get Together. And then I sort of kept it like super organized too, because I figured that the person who owned this shop was probably like really OCD about this stuff. It just made me feel like every shop here has its own sort of personality. like from the diner being super quirky and full of things to the woodworking shop being very rustic and the garden shop being just full of plants. This place was going to be super organized and very OCD, and everything had its place and was perfect. And that's just the kind of vibe that I got while building this place. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to roll with it. And then I struggled with putting these frogs on the table because I wanted them to be a little bit sort of lively on the tables rather than just, sitting there. But they kind of like poke through items, and I was like, I'll work on it. I'll work on it later. Some old pots to, give it a little bit more of a ancient, or like more of a archaeology. Yeah, like an archaeology vibe. Like the person here went out and collected all this stuff on their own. And then I took all the nice fancy statues and I shrunk them down to be little table statues. And then I'll move them around and organize them to look a little bit better. And then I like the little butler dude with the like plate in his hand holding the little books from Vintage Glamour. And then I really wanted this dude with the top hat because I was just like, yeah, this dude, this dude works. He's fancy. And then I found that. And I'm like trying to get in all this, fancy stuff into this little shop and trying to make it all work well, not really sacrificing on the layout or the organized nature of this place. So it is a little bit full and there are some random things sort of cluttering, but like the dude just didn't have enough space, or lady. And then I decided to get rid of the display case for the medals because I couldn't put the medals in there. So I was like, you know what? Let's put a suit of armor instead. And then I sort of organized these little statues. And then I'm like, oh, the old typewriter. That would look really cool in a collector's shop. I mean, why not? Why not an old typewriter? And then I just organized this. And everything is sort of floating on that table. Nothing is actually placed. Well, not nothing, but most of the stuff isn't actually placed just because of the way things would sit. If I use the actual slots, they would have kind of blend in together and not really look that great. And then I chose a very fancy floor pattern, probably the fanciest shop on the whole lot, honestly. And then I kind of wasn't happy. And then I'm like, should this table be on a slant? Or is that weird? Because, super organized guy, why would his table be on a slant? But it kind of just gave it a little bit more character and probably helps a little bit more with, Sims being able to walk around the shop a little bit better. So I decided to put it on a little bit of a slant. And I think I'm happy with it. And now time for a little bit more decoration. And I was so sad that those Jungle Adventure stone plaques don't shrink down with their shadows, which is a common problem. So I wanted to shrink them down, but I couldn't fit them without them looking really weird. So I decided to not, and just, put some fancy lights up, an old sign out front. And I was really struggling to find something to sort of give this place its sign. And I couldn't really find anything fancy enough. And I was just like, dang. And then I couldn't find any pictures or whatever to post on that wall, on that placard. And I struggled a lot with trying to give it an outside feel. And then I was like, you know what this place needs? A fancy rug. And the rug is straight, but the table is not. But that is it for this video. If you like it, please remember to leave it with a like and subscribe for more content. I post a video every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I also stream on Twitch every Monday and Friday, and pretty much any other day I feel like streaming, but those two for sure. If you wanted to see the rest of this build, I do have a playlist on my channel full of all the other stores and whatnots for this build. And it is available for download on the gallery under the origin name ID StefanyRed. And if you wanted to see me on Twitch, that is AG StefanyRed. All the links for those kind of things are down in the description. Thank you so much for watching and have an amazing day.